Staying at home constantly, I feel like I'm in a bubble all the time because I close myself off from people, especially like going outside, not just socializing, but I don't really like being outside in like open spaces. It causes me to feel distressed if I go outside, and physically it can feel like you feel drained all the time because mentally and physically it can feel like you feel drained all the time because mentally you're always stressed out and you're always worrying about things, so it feels like it's taking up your energy a lot, so you feel tired, and you have like low energy all the time. Hello, I'm Ria Andreu, I'm 17 years old, and today I'll be sharing my personal experiences with anxiety, social anxiety, and my mental health overall. I would like to spread awareness for people that suffer and struggle with anxiety and how they cope and deal with things, as it's not talked about enough and people should take it more seriously.
How would you describe what anxiety feels like for you?
When I'm in a very stressful environment, like if I'm in a public place and there's lots of people and it's loud, I sort of distance myself from others. I feel like my social battery sort of drains and I don't really want to talk to people. I get very stressed out and I get tired and I just want to be alone with my thoughts. I feel like I panic or I just go quiet.
How do you deal with anxiety?
I feel like there's healthy coping mechanisms and unhealthy coping mechanisms. The healthy ones are, I would draw to sort of unwind, like to relax and stuff like that. Also seeking therapy, and sometimes I cook like during like my spare time. I just find it relaxing. And the unhealthy coping mechanisms would be, I used to have an addiction of cutting myself and starving myself, and it became an addiction, and I feel like people with anxiety, they panic constantly and they always feel like they're on edge. They don't really know how to deal with things, so that was an unhealthy way of coping with stuff like that in my personal life. And I also, used to vape and stuff like that, so it was a very unhealthy habit, and so I sort of found ways around that. I stopped vaping, stopped smoking, stuff like that. I just focused on doing things that I enjoyed, like drawing, and I have a passion for cooking as well. And, I've got a psychiatrist now, so, I sort of found a way around that.
How has your mental health impacted your relationships with friends, family, and school?
I feel like with school, I tend to procrastinate like schoolwork or just doing chores around the house. Sometimes, like if I'm stressed out. With relationships, I feel like I'm not very like affectionate around like my friends or family. I don't really hug a lot of people. My mum notices that I don't really hug her and stuff like that. I feel like physical touch, I don't know, it just sort of depends, and like, unless I trust that person. But it does affect like my relationships with people, especially like my dad. But with my dad, he sort of caused a lot of things to do with my relationship with him. It's not really like me, it's more to do with him. But yeah, I don't really talk to my dad for specific reasons. So I sort of distance myself from people, especially people that are toxic in my life. So I just cut people out because it does really impact my mental health. It stresses me out. My dad would like cause a lot of stress for me. He wasn't really nice towards me. He never really talked to me nicely at all. He just never treated me nicely. But yeah, it has impacted my mental health. You know, having a toxic sort of father figure in my life, you know.
How does social anxiety affect you mentally and physically?
Staying at home constantly, I feel like I'm in a bubble all the time because I close myself off from people, especially like going outside, not just socializing, but I don't really like being outside in like open spaces. It causes me to feel distressed if I go outside, and physically it can feel like you feel drained all the time because mentally and physically it can feel like you feel drained all the time because mentally you're always stressed out and you're always worrying about things, so it feels like it's taking up your energy a lot, so you feel tired, you know, and you have like low energy all the time, and you constantly feel like you don't want to go to places by yourself. It creates a constant fear of, you know, leaving your house, and I don't really like interacting with people because of this, so it can be really stressful. That's why I don't really like traveling by myself, especially in areas that I'm not familiar with, and it affects my everyday life. Yeah.
Do you think social anxiety is taken seriously enough in the world we are living in today?
Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. I feel like people talk about it, but not a lot has been done to support people. With social anxiety, I feel like people don't really take it that seriously, but people are aware of the struggles of it. My past therapists that I've had, they haven't really helped me with my social anxiety. They're aware that I have social anxiety, even my psychiatrist, but they haven't really helped me overcome my social anxiety. And I feel like once you sort of, because you have like a low self-esteem, especially with stuff like that, it causes you to not be confident in yourself. And I feel like some people can grow out of it over time, but when people deal with stuff like that, it's a struggle, and I feel like it's difficult not to talk about, but to deal with, and like to like help you overcome it, because with things like that, I haven't had that much support in it. Sometimes I do go out with people. I do like going out in places like Central and stuff like that, but I wouldn't want to go all the time or like by myself. The constant sort of fear of being outside in like big places is a lot, like it's stressful to deal with, and I feel like therapists and stuff like that, they don't really seem to understand how to help people with stuff like that. In my personal experience, I feel like it's really hard to overcome that, and I feel like it's not really taken seriously enough. They might say that it's a serious topic to talk about, but not a lot has really been done on the whole sort of matter.
Lastly, what message would you like to give out to the audience about dealing with anxiety, social anxiety, and mental health in general? And what's the best way to overcome this, in your opinion?
When it comes to dealing with anxiety, social anxiety, and just mental health overall in general, I feel like the most important thing is to open up about how you're feeling, and to really talk about it to someone professional and to seek help, because it can really make a difference. It can help, but you have to sort of, the thing is that's more important is to do with communication. You have to communicate with what you want your outcome to be, like with your solution, like how you would like to resolve the struggles that you're struggling with. And with me, because I have a lot going on, I feel like there's different things that I sort of tend to focus on, but not like overall. So it just depends. When dealing with stuff like that, it's best to take your time, and when you get support when talking to someone professional, you should really communicate with what you would like to deal with first, step by step, not just everything all at once, because it can be very overwhelming. And the best way to overcome those sort of struggles is to have that mindset of wanting to get help, and to sort of acknowledge what things you struggle with,